This is the brand new locally assembled BAIC B30. It has 300 kilowatts. Guys, first things first, you know we gotta launch it. The wheel spin. 300 kilowatts, that's pretty zippy. Okay, there's 100, wow. What a fun thing.
With Cars.co.za, you can use WhatsApp to chat directly with dealers or private sellers. Real people, real-time answers. Boom! Chat, negotiate, sort out paperwork, all without putting on your pluckies. Cars.co.za.
Right, so who is BAIC exactly? I mean, we've heard this brand floating around, but who are they exactly? BAIC is short for Beijing Automotive Corporation. They've got a plant in South Africa, but internationally they've been around since 2010. So reasonably, I would say middle-aged by Chinese brand standards, because we know Chinese brands are cropping up left, right, and center all the time. Interestingly, their joint venture partners are Hyundai and Mercedes-Benz. Now, I feel I have to tell you about joint venture agreements because a lot of you will go, oh, this brand has copied this brand. But it's so much more than that, because a joint venture agreement means that BAIC builds Mercedes-Benz vehicles in China for Mercedes-Benz, and in return, BAIC gets Mercedes intellectual property. So things like these indicator stalks, the wiper stalks, they're lifted straight from Mercedes-Benz product. So what exactly is a BAIC B30E? Interestingly, this vehicle is sold overseas as the BJ30, and we've actually seen a couple of little badges in this car that still have that international name. But yeah, pricing, like all Chinese vehicles, super enticing. 519 grand for the entry-level model. This top-spec all-wheel drive hybrid, that's coming in at under 700,000 rand. And yes, it sounds like a lot of money, but you're getting a lot of car for this. Now, the styling of this vehicle really caught my eye, and I think it is an exceptionally interesting looking vehicle. Now, that was the one unique selling point. I was like, wow, cool, amazing looking car. And then I started reading the technical data, and it has over 300 kilowatts. And I thought, really? 300 kilowatts? What's that all about? Tell me more, how does this engine work? So this engine is pretty complex, but I'm going to do my best to explain how it works as best as I can. So at the front, yes, you guessed it, it is a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol, aren't they all? Then there's not one but two electric motors. So there's an electric motor on the front axle, there's an electric motor on the back axle. The gearbox is a 2-speed direct drive hybrid transmission. So yes, it is a hybrid, but the cool thing is it's not a plug-in hybrid, it's not a pure EV, you don't have to worry about charging it. So all of this together, 301 kilowatts and over 680 newton meters. So with all of that power and all of that torque, you would think this car would be quick. Now, as you've seen from the launch, well, it's not quite there. The numbers talk a big game, but really, the test data does not lie. And when you're getting low 7s to 100, I mean, officially the claim is 7 seconds to 100, and we couldn't quite get there despite our best efforts. Impressively though, the BAIC does have launch control, which it has a very, very funny name for. See, ejection mode. This is actually quite amusing. Like, I've seen race starts, I've seen launch controls. Ejection mode is a first. I can't keep it straight, but what are we using? Ejection mode. I want to talk about the ride quality as well. Now, my personal preference, and you guys are welcome to have your own personal preferences, I like a softer setup. I like a marshmallow, pillowy ride. I just want to be comfortable. I'm 40 years old. I don't really want to do too much sportiness now. I just open road, cruising, and this ride setup is so soft and wallowy. And even if I start moving the wheel here, the steering is not the most responsive. It's a little bit slow feeling, but I'm not picking up any bumps. These high profile tires, they're nice and plump and they're absorbing all the little imperfections in the road. And guys, color me impressed. This is a well sorted, well balanced, good ride quality machine. Oh, before I neglect to forget, the steering, yes, I've said it's vague, but I can just quickly go into the settings. Come here. This menu system is not the most user friendly, but we got there eventually. And then I can go electric power steering mode, and then you can make it facile. I have no idea what that word is, or there's normal and there's sport. So we're going straight into sport, and there's a little bit more weighting, which is to my preference. Facile! Facile, let's go! Okay. Being a hybrid, it's all about the efficiency. And I think the marketing material and the positioning of all of these hybrid vehicles now, they go, you're going to save a little bit of fuel, but you also got the added performance. But I look at the liters per 100 economy claim and go, 6.5, I mean, that's not bad. And since reset, so in the entire lifespan of this vehicle, it's averaged 7.3. Now for a BAIC B30, which is quite a big family SUV, and we've been driving it spiritedly, I think 7.3 is fair. Now in comparison, non-hybrid Chinese SUVs were probably doing 9, 10, and if you're in a hurry, 11. By now you're probably asking, Dave, which is the better driver's car in terms of efficiency and performance between the BAIC B30 and the Jetour T2? And now I've tested both of these cars and I've done all the economy tests, and I'm going to say the BAIC is just a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficient. The Jetour T2, big power, it's got 180 kilowatts. This has got 300, but remember that with the hybrid system, the 300 doesn't really feel like 300. But yeah, I think this is a better riding car. I think it is a slightly more engaging driving experience. So overall, when it comes to comfort, ride quality, performance and efficiency, I think the BAIC B30 is the better car. Now, if you're in the market for a BAIC B30 all-wheel drive big family SUV, or a Jetour T2 for that matter, you'll be wanting to know how talented it is when it comes to the off-road stuff. Now, you will have seen the Jetour T2 video where we took it beyond its capabilities with Francois on a very, very challenging off-road course. Now, if you're really serious about your off-roading, you want to be looking at something like the ladder frame, low range capable Tank 300 diesel. This thing, let me tell you some quick numbers, some quick figures, some quick stats. It's got 250 millimeters of clearance. That's already a green flag for me. But I'll tell you what, we're just going to drive the Paarl Mountain Reserve Road. It's a nice, tricky, slightly technical. There's parts which are a little bit challenging. And many of you have actually asked us and said, guys, just stop trying to do the hardcore 4x4 stuff. Just drive a normal gravel road and tell us what it is. So you know what? Take that, sports fans. Comfort, 25 k's an hour. Let's do a normal gravel road then. Okay, so I could see right away that all four wheels are doing the driving. It says petrol is engaged and it's charging the battery, and we're running on electric power. So this is quite nice, 30 k's an hour. Yeah, this is nice. Let's give it some gas. Let's see what happens. Oh, you actually can get four-wheel wheel spin if you gas it. This does the basics right. I'm quite happy, and I'm actually going to try summon my own personal rally driver spirit. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I'm happy with this. I think the clearance will keep you out of most danger, and just having the benefit of good clearance and all-wheel drive, I think that is the majority of your customer needs taken care of. Yep, good job, BAIC. Inside, like the majority of Chinese vehicles, the cabin is dominated by a massive landscape orientated screen, and like the rest of the vehicles in this sort of class, it's pretty responsive. Graphics are really good. In front of me I've got a digital instrument cluster. That's really nice. As I've mentioned in the driving, the trip computer is really decent, and I've got all the usual things I'd need like tire pressure sensors and so on. That's really cool. Then we get to the connectivity side of things. I've got a nice wireless charger. Down here there's a USB-A, USB-C place to put my phone. That's all nice. The vehicle also comes with Apple CarPlay. Annoyingly, right now it doesn't have Android Auto, and instead we've got the good old, come on, Carbit Link mirroring software. And on your screen right now, you can see Sean's phone, which has been perfectly replicated on the screen. It is not the best system, I will be honest. I happily prefer Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And while I have said that the design of the cabin is pretty generic, there have been certain little design elements that I really like. Things like this. This is a plain style throttle gear selector, so you just put your foot on the brake and then you can go neutral, drive, and then park. This is really cool. There's also a nice rotary controller for the drive modes, and yeah, I like the look of this, and for me, the biggest thing about this cabin is the feeling of plushness and premium. Yes, it is just under 700,000 Rand, but the materials used feel nicely put together. And I love the detailing, like there's little mountain logo over here. It says BJ30. This is a nice rubberized material. And yeah, it feels pretty solid, pretty screwed together. And now for the fun stuff. And you guys know I love like the intricate details. So can I interest you in lighting? And now there's a system where when you unlock the car, you get a light show. So it's called the Welcome Unlocking Ceremony Sensation. And your options are top meteor gallop, looping light trails, which I think is the prettiest, and continuous vibration. And yes, this is the level we're at. And then there's other little things that when you dive in, you go, what is that there? And if I open up the window visor, the mirror visor that is, there's a hanging hook. Like, what am I supposed to hang here? Look, it does have a weight limit of 3 kilograms. So I'm just gonna hang my little bag of snacks. So while I'm driving, I've got my little snack bag. I mean, why is this here? Who put this here? And there's one on the passenger side as well. And I also like that that's the glove box. There's another hook over here. So it's the little details. Some of the stuff is a little bit weird, but guys, the party piece of this vehicle is in the back. Okay, in the back of the BAIC B30, guys, look at how much space I have. There's a wheelbase of over 2,800 millimeters. So this is a very practical, very well thought out car. But just look at how much room I have. I can sit here, I could even, yeah, even better. How many mid-size medium SUVs do you know can do that? That's rad. Cool. Amazing. Made a bit of dirt, oh well. Headroom, fantastic, no complaints there. In terms of convenience features, well, I've got a pocket over here, I've got a place to put a phone there, and there's just a single USB-C. And then I also have 2 individually controlled vents. So I can point one that way and point one at my knees. And yeah, this is really, really spacious. But the best is yet to come, because what's behind me is not just a boot, it is a way of life. Let me explain. Now we've spent the day driving the BAIC B30E, but guys, one of my favorite features is this boot. It's so much more than just a boot. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Not the fastest of tailgates, but it is automated. That's a nice feature. We've already done the test, and 7 of the budget cooler boxes fit in this vehicle. Nice big depth, whatever. But this parcel shelf has been a bone of contention because it kind of folds and gets in the way, and like, what is this? And then we read through the brochure, and this, everyone, this is a picnic table. So let's set this up. There we have it, a little picnic table. Sean, tell me what you want for lunch, because we have it all here. Sandwiches, juices, waters, knock yourself out. But folks, there's even more cool stuff in this car. Let's have a look. So in here, there's a power socket, which is linked to the car's battery. Don't worry about it being drained. You can always push the button and the engine will top the battery up. So have our 66 watt USB charger with a travel adapter. So you can now plug in, yep, lights on, you can charge stuff. Now at night, you need a place to hang your torch. So you hang your torch over there. Cool, so you're set up for camping. And now you just need to deploy your tent. Now what if you don't have a tent? What if I told you could sleep in this car because it converts into a bed? Are you ready for this? Now to convert the B30E into a bed, you simply have to take the rear seats, fold the bases up, which I've already done, and then you have to drop the rear benches. So we'll just do that. 1, 2. Cars.co.za pillow, gotta have one of those. Now to get in dignity. Okay, right, that's a wrap. Good night, everyone. Right, let's talk rivals. What else is there for 700,000 Rand if you want a full-on adventuring family SUV? First and foremost, I'm going to look at things like the Mahindra Scorpio N, Really, really competitive product. Diesel engine, talented, really good. Renault Duster 4x4. Unfortunately, that's only available in manual, but still a competent, cool, rugged lifestyle vehicle. If you look to Chinese rivals, I would go straight to something like a Tank 300 2.4 diesel. Now, especially if you love your off-roading, that is on a ladder frame chassis, proper 4x4. We love that vehicle at Cars.co.za. But given the fact that it's flavor of the month and all of you guys on our channels can't stop talking about the Jetour T2, it would be very unprofessional of me if I didn't mention this vehicle. And if you dive into the Cars.co.za comparison tool, you'll see that both the BAIC B30 and the Jetour T2 all-wheel drive are within maybe 5-10 grand of each other. They're both all-wheel drive. And of course, because it's one of my reviews, I have to throw in the double D's, Dave's deals. So if you want an adventuring SUV and you don't want a new car, what cool vehicles will tick the boxes for 700,000 Rand? And if you go onto the Cars.co.za free app, available on the iStore or the Google Play Store, you will punch in 700,000 Rand, you want a 4x4, and guys, for me, it's a no-brainer. Toyota Fortuner, Ford Everest, Isuzu MU-X. Really, really good cars, really talented off-road, 3-row practicality, probably all the car you'd ever need to explore this beautiful land we live in. I want to talk about BAIC quickly as a brand. Just forget the product itself, because I think this brand is a little bit underrated. They're not making enough shouting or song and dance about what they're doing. Now, last year, the X55, that's this really cool, stylish family SUV, that sold over 2,000 units in 2025. Like, fair play, those are good numbers. And then there's this, the B30. And if my memory serves, I think about 130 odd units were sold in the last month of 2025. And this year, I think about 130 units were sold in January. So they're selling, they're making a couple of sales here and there. There's some volumes. But did you know that these vehicles are assembled in South Africa? This factory operates as a CKD facility. And I'm going to explain to you what a CKD is, thanks to Lego. The easiest way to explain complete knockdown or SKD, CKD building, it's Lego. Basically, all the parts are made in another factory in another part of the world, put together in one big container and shipped to a factory, in the case of BAIC's facility at Kariega, and there the final assembly, the final painting is done. Most local factory, take Volkswagen and Ford and so on, they build the vehicles pretty much from scratch. I think there's like 45-50% local componentry, but they basically do the hard work here and then ship out. BAIC is bringing the kits in, doing the final assembly, and then it's going on sale. So these things are basically giant Lego kits for grown-ups. How awesome is that? Let's talk about pricing and after sales, because obviously you're going to be concerned, well, this car is really nice now. Is there some sort of backup? Now, as I've mentioned, locally assembled, but the warranty I think is pretty impressive. It is a 7-year, 200,000K warranty. Pricing, service plan is on your screen right now, and I think it's important to note out that there's an additional powertrain, additional coverage for the hybrid system. When it comes to service plan, there is a 7-year, 90,000K plan. So I think it's a little bit more than your legacy car makers, and I think it gets the basics right. Right, let's wrap this video up and deliver a verdict. Do I like this car? Yes, I do. For me, it suits my needs. I love all the gadgets and gizmos. I love the punchy powertrain, and I think the economy and performance figures are reasonable. And I think the pricing is really enticing as well. It brings a lot of value to the segment. And you'll be wanting me to deliver a verdict. Right now, social media's favorite, Jetour T2 versus the BAIC B30. Well, the T2's got a lot going for it. I think it's slightly more spacious in terms of the cabin. It's a great drive as well. And I think the interior is just a little bit more ergonomically better. You know, I still like my buttons. But if you have to go, Dave, right, pick one right now. Both keys are here. I'm going to go for the BAIC B30. I just think the powertrain is a little bit more efficient, a little bit punchier. And I love the outdoor lifestyle enthusiast things that they've put in the back there. But that's me. I want these things. This suits my lifestyle. If you buy a Jetour T2, you're probably going to love it. If you're going to buy a BAIC B30, you're probably going to love it. I don't think either of those cars is a bad decision. Guys, that's the end of the video review. Thank you so much for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think BAIC has nailed it? Do you think this is a good car? Let us know. We do enjoy reading your comments. And remember, 73,000 new or used vehicles available right now on Cars.co.za. I'll see you in the next video review. Okay, bye.